The pro-life movement is alive and well all across the globe. Today I traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with some leaders of pro-life groups in other countries. They share their stories of successes and challenges in their efforts to protect innocent human life. Their stories are very similar to ours. They're working to shed light on the truth about abortion. This week, we'll learn about the pro-life movement in Canada, Holland, and Germany. Jim Hughes, the national president of Campaign Life Coalition in Canada, joined me to talk about the pro-life movement in his country.
We've been around since 1978, May the 25th, 1978, and we've been working very hard trying to get people alerted to the evils of abortion, encouraging people to run for public office, helping them to win nominations in the party of their choice, and then helping them to get elected to Parliament, both in Ottawa and in the provincial legislatures across the country.
Now it's a nationwide organization, right?
It is a national organization with about 120,000 families in total.
And do you have chapters, affiliates?
We have provincial chapters in each of the 10 provinces, and we have a national office in Toronto, as well as a lobby office in our nation's capital of Ottawa.
So what's the legal status in Canada of abortion?
You can have an abortion any time at all, right up until the time that the baby would naturally emerge from the mother's womb. No laws whatsoever. In May the 14th, 1969, in an omnibus bill, which was a bill encompassing a number of issues, the abortion law was thrown wide open to almost anybody having an abortion if they so chose. Then the Supreme Court decision in 1988, January the 28th, threw out what little laws there were at the time, and now it's abortion on demand in Canada.
Now, what would you say is the current issue of the day that you're working on in the pro-life movement in Canada?
Well, we're still working on trying to get people to see that this is a child in the womb, and to understand that you can kill that child right up until the final stages of its life in the womb. And most people don't understand that. I'd say over 90% of Canadians don't understand that even today. I would say a large number of clergy don't know that as well. So trying to get through to the general public has been difficult.
Unlike Canada, which allows abortion at any point during pregnancy, Germany has legalized abortion until the 12th week. Dr. Suzanne Lux is an active leader in the pro-life movement in Germany.
In Germany, currently we have a law allowing abortion as after a consultation. Abortion is forbidden, but it can be done if one has consulted a doctor and has an abortion permit by an organization, often Planned Parenthood, which can give this paper, but also the Evangelic Church provides this piece of paper as well, and with this paper one can go to have an abortion and is not punished up to the 12th week.
Bert Dorenbos, the president of Cry for Life in Holland, explains the broad limits on abortion in the Netherlands.
Abortion is legal till the 24th week, just below that the child can be born. And now we see that the development in Holland is that when they find out that the child has a handicap, it can be aborted up to birth. They call it the so-called Groninger, that's a city in Holland, Groninger protocol. That's a big discussion, that they say, okay, if the child is too handicapped, you are allowed to kill it.
Any legislative efforts in Parliament right now?
Well, right now they're looking at an Unborn Victims of Crime bill, which is not a pro-life bill per se. It's not about abortion. But it's interesting now that people that have called themselves pro-choice all along are now arguing against this legislation which would protect a child that's wanted in its mother's womb. They don't want legislation that would protect it and charge anybody that attempted to remove its life, because it would put a chink into the abortion argument, they say. Once you give the child in the womb any rights at all, then we're likely going to lose the next one that comes down the pike.
And what is the pro-life political climate like in Germany?
The political climate is very much pro-choice, or it's more like the woman has to decide herself. It's you cannot enforce laws that a woman has to receive a baby if she doesn't want it. And since every 5th to 6th baby is killed by abortion in Germany, according to official numbers, it's almost that in every family there is a case of abortion. Thus, there is a lot of guilt, and you do not speak about it. It's you do not speak about abortion. But the general public, the press, is very much pro-choice.
Coming up, Bert Dorenbos talks about the moment he knew his purpose in life was to be devoted to the pro-life movement. And Jim Hughes talks about his decision to change the way the media reported on abortion in Canada.
So when the media didn't tell the truth about what went on, we started this pro-life newspaper.
Whether you're a student needing answers, a parent needing help, or a concerned citizen wanting to make a difference, Life Issues Institute has the resources you need to put your values into action. Life Issues Institute is an international educational organization committed to protecting innocent human life. Life Issues Institute knows what it takes. That's why millions throughout the world turn here for help. Life Issues Institute has authored more pro-life publications than any other entity in the world, and its materials are printed in over 30 languages. Radio broadcasts, newsletters, and a website filled to the brim with the answers you're looking for are just a click away. Go to facinglife.tv and click on the link to Life Issues Institute to find out more about how you can change the heart of a nation.
This week we're hearing from pro-life leaders of Canada, Germany, and the Netherlands. Well, what year was your group organized?
About 20 years ago.
Okay.
We saw the video, The Silent Scream, from Dr. Nathanson, and I was managing a broadcasting station in Holland at that time, and the people asked me to see the program because they thought this is quite heavy stuff. And so they asked me to, and I saw it. I thought, this is impossible. Of course, we were pro-life in our evangelical broadcasting station. But Willie, my wife, said, when I said, yeah, but you can't deal every time with pro-life issues, then she always said, yes, but you should ask this little baby in the mother's womb what she or he thinks. So when we saw this video, I was so shocked, and we didn't spend any words, Willie and I together, but we made a covenant, was made, that we should spend the rest of our life to defend life. And that's the most beautiful thing you can do.
Using ultrasound, The Silent Scream features an actual abortion being performed and was made available through the medical experience of Dr. Bernard Nathanson. The video is too graphic for TV because of the true violence of abortion. After watching this video, Bert Dorenbos decided to dedicate his life to protecting the lives of the preborn.
I feel myself to be identified with this screaming little baby in the mother's womb who's destined to be torn apart, killed, tortured, and exterminated. So that's what I am.
You've taken your message abroad to other countries, correct? Because
yeah.
I've attended conferences in St. Petersburg and Moscow, Russia that you hosted. Tell us a little bit about the breadth of what Cry for Life has done internationally.
Holland is such a small country, so if we drive very fast, in 2 hours we are out of our country. So we are international oriented, and I have seen the enormous potential of the pro-life movement international. I'm absolutely sure that the pro-life movement is much bigger than Amnesty International or Greenpeace or Planned Parenthood or whatever or other organization. So I see it as one of my callings to bring the pro-life in a global perspective together.
Along with Bert, Jim Hughes has also made strides to connect with the people in Canada and other countries with print and online news sources.
We started, in addition to our regular monthly news, Campaign Life Coalition News, we started a newspaper 25 years ago. In March 1983, we had former abortionist Dr. Bernard N. Nathanson come to Toronto and talk about the issue, and the cameras were all there from the various networks, but the following day there was very little in the press about his visit. Here was a notorious leader of the pro-abortion movement in the United States who had become pro-life, and now that wasn't a very newsworthy topic. And what he had to say bothered them greatly because of a study of fetology, which had shown that there was an additional patient when a woman was pregnant, and he changed his mind. They weren't too interested. So when the media didn't tell the truth about what went on, we started this pro-life newspaper, the interim newspaper, and then the interim newspaper started LifeSite Daily News, which is a daily news feature on the internet, and it's gone extremely well. And it's now well established in Canada, and now in the United States and in Europe as well. So it's been well worth the effort. The challenge was hurled at us, and I think we've been up to it thus far.
Would you say that the media is a hindrance to your efforts? Do you believe they have an agenda that conflicts with yours?
When I've read all the reports and the studies and surveys and whatnot, you find that over 90% of the people in the media are not on side on most Christian principles and most Christian ideals, and they don't represent the views of the people across Canada. And more and more, when you meet the people in the small towns and villages and whatnot across Canada, they're no different than they are in the United States and elsewhere. They're the people that make the countries work. They're the ones that have gone to war to protect the democratic rights of its citizens, etc. And those people are not well represented in the media at all. And that's why the alternate media that has come forward and the internet, the media that we've been able to create, has been extremely effective in educating people to what's happening.
And people always say, but the media doesn't like to talk about pro-life. And that's right, that's right. They try to calm it down. But I always ask the people, pro-lifers, did you ask them? Did you code to them? Did you try it? Yes, I sent once a letter, but they didn't like to do it. I said, you should do it again, because if you send 10 letters and one will be answered in a positive way, that's already a big shot. So I blame the pro-life people that they are just complaining about the media, but not going in the media and trying to fight for their part in the media circus.
So you've been able to bring that perspective from the media side to the pro-life movement.
That's right. That's right. And I still think there's much more to gain in the media for pro-life issues.
The media does not report on pro-life demonstrations. Like in the US, it's very common to have the ProLife March in January. We do have this every other year in Germany in September in Berlin, and you have hardly any newspaper reporting on it. It's just, you do not speak about abortion.
When we return, what's the status of euthanasia?
Thank you for inviting us into your home. Each week we feature real people who deal with real-life issues head-on. Some of their experiences are uplifting, while others will break your heart. But in the end, the message is clear. Those who follow biblical principles on the issues of life are blessed. Become a partner with us in providing a positive, life-affirming message to help change the way the next generation values innocent human life. Please consider a generous gift to help offset the costs of producing this important quality programming. You can donate on our secure website at facinglife.tv or by calling the phone number on your screen during normal business hours. Together, we can make a real difference for life.
Facing life, facing life.
Dr. Lux, Bert Dorenbos, and Jim Hughes are each working in the pro-life movement, educating their respective countries on the life issues. What's the status of euthanasia?
It's marching down very, very rapidly because people have said right from the beginning that this whole lack of respect for human life is a slippery slope. And when you started with abortion, it wasn't going to be long before the killing of people at the other end of the spectrum was going to happen. And now we hear rumblings of this right across the country. And as the baby boomers age and the need for increased medical care comes up, more and more people say, well, what about those people that are in nursing homes, the people that are suffering from dementia? Maybe it's time for them to move on and to free up their hospital beds. I know that when I attended a meeting in Rome about 3 years ago, we were talking about the terrible situation that exists in Holland, and a professor of medicine from Switzerland said it's happening in Switzerland too. And they're starting with the people who are in nursing homes that are suffering from dementia, who have nobody visiting them, and they're slowly reducing their food and nutrition so that eventually they'll die and free up those hospital beds. It comes right down to money all the time. And in this case, we're watching that slippery slope in Canada.
In the Netherlands, euthanasia is so prevalent that Bert is fearful of a long-term hospital stay.
I myself, I'm afraid to go in a hospital. And I remember my father, he died at 83. He was ill. And I felt myself so sorry. He begged the doctor not to do anything related to euthanasia. And he had a volunteer, and she was in the hospital, and we went to visit her. And she gripped my hands, you know, she was old, and all the white doctors around her, and the whole she gripped me and said, "Oh, Mr. Dorenbos, they will not kill me. Please help me that they will not kill me." So if you see this euthanasia mentality, which is also told nice by everybody and it's peaceful, in the end it becomes a horror for people. And if I say I'm not afraid, at least not often, but that I feel myself uncomfortable because there's the life, the caring issue more. It's more the what can we decide to get rid of the problem. And now, you know, now we have the euthanasia law, and now they want to continue with the so-called death pill. The Free Euthanasia Union is very much in favor that everybody has a pill and can decide himself when to die.
Everybody gets a pill and they just decide when they want to use it?
Yes.
In April of 2002, the Netherlands became the first country in the world to allow euthanasia on demand or mercy killing for patients experiencing extreme suffering. As a result of this legal action, the Netherlands Voluntary Euthanasia Society is promoting the use of a euthanasia pill. What would you say is your biggest struggle that you face in the pro-life movement in Canada today?
I would say it's getting the clergy to assume the position that they must assume, which is at the core of everything. If they can do their jobs, if they will do their jobs, then it's very easy for us then to take all of those people and to work with them in the secular arena. But where the clergy fails to do that job, we find ourselves attempting to do that too, and it's extremely difficult. The Catholic Church, for instance, in Canada, is the only group of churchmen in the world who still dissent from a papal document called Humanae Vitae, which was issued by by Pope Paul VI in 1968, I believe, 68 or 69. And it's just talking about human life and the need to protect it. Well, the bishops of Canada dissented from it, and they continue to dissent from it. So when you have that at the core of everything that you're doing, and people saying, well, wait a minute, if this issue is so important, why aren't the bishops and the priests telling us about it? And then the people in the other churches and the other faith communities, they're looking as well and saying, well, just what is happening here? So we're finding more and more evangelical and non-evangelical Christian churches coming on board on the issues, and they were very much in the forefront as well during our fight for marriage, on the marriage issue. And so that's created a whole new group of allies, and we continue to work with many of these groups today.
Now, what are some of the struggles that your group has faced while you're working to protect innocent human life there?
The church.
One wouldn't expect that kind of answer.
I hear it everywhere. You can be nice because you don't want to be seen negative towards Christianity and to the church, of course. But I always ask, when did your pastor talk about abortion or euthanasia for the last time in his sermon? There's a big silence.
So the churches just aren't taking a position on abortion and euthanasia?
Of course, there are some pro-life churches, some